a proud son of Normandy. Jean Pierre Isidore Alphonse Dubois de Salingy entertained lofty assessments of his prominence, and it exasperated him when people failed to acknowledge it. In 1832, he began his diplomatic duties, serving as secretary of French legations in Hanover, Greece, and the United States. It was during this last assignment that his superiors directed him to visit Texas and report on its prospects. In 1839, he inspected Galveston, Houston, and Matagorda. Receiving his favorable assessment, French officials recognized Texas and entered into a treaty of amity, navigation, and commerce. In January 1840, Dubois returned to Texas, this time as chargé d'affaires. The new republic did not warrant a full-fledged ambassador. He began to take on the airs he deemed appropriate to the new appointment, signing his name A. de Salingy, which implied that he descended from French nobility. A complete ruse. He was as bourgeois as a wooden shoe. Although the post constituted a promotion, the diplomat resented that his directors had relegated him to such a remote backwater. The primitive conditions in Austin appalled him. In July 1840, he described Austin defenses that were
limited to surrounding the capital with a ditch of several feet and with a simple palisade which, to tell the truth, seems to me, with people like Texans to defend it, to be significant against enemies like the Comanches and the Mexicans.
Among his other duties, Dubois oversaw the construction of a French legation in Austin. Nations installed legations when the host country was not worthy of an embassy. And in 1841, Texas placed low down in the international pecking order. While builders worked to complete his official residence, he took lodgings in the Bullock House, Austin's first hotel, located at the northwest corner of Pecan Street, current 6th Street, and Congress Avenue. Dubois and innkeeper Richard Bullock did not get along, and the Frenchman soon moved into a modest house on West Pecan Street. In a November 6, 1840 letter, he protested having to occupy lodgings so far beneath his station.
I am thus resigned to entertaining in the humble dwelling where I am encamped, rather than installed, and to do the honors the best I can. I had all the cabinet and several senators to dinner there several days ago. I also invited the president, and he did me the honor of accepting.
He purchased 21 acres on the town's east side, where construction of a proper legation began, one which would reflect the dignity of France and, of course, his own. A flare-up in the simmering feud between Bullock and Dubois sidetracked diplomatic pursuits. Like most Texians, Bullock kept a sounder of swine to feed his family and customers. Following local custom, he turned them loose to amble along the streets of the capital. In search of fodder, the hogs occupied Dubois' stable and ate corn intended for his horses. That would have been insult enough. But 3 of the porcine pillagers then invaded his bedroom, where they devoured his linen and even official state papers. The fuming Frenchman ordered his manservant to dispatch the pigs, which he did with pitchforks and pistols. Bullock later claimed that the diplomat had most maliciously and wantonly slaughtered between 15 and 25 of his hogs, the value of which he estimated at $100. Then, when the innkeeper learned that it was the butler who had actually killed his pigs, he sought him out and beat him like a dusty rug. Dubois confronted Bullock over the thrashing, but the hot-headed hotelier threatened him with a trouncing of his own. Bullock and Dubois were in a standoff. One demanded compensation for dead hogs. The second insisted that under the laws of nations, he fell under diplomatic immunity.
Diplomatic immunity!
It's just been revoked.
Some Texian officials supported Bullock, others Dubois. Following the initial affray, Bullock continued to harangue and bully Dubois and his staff when he met them on the street. Since Austin was still a small town, such occasions were frequent. The chargé d'affaires exacerbated the situation by embroiling himself in local politics. He was open in his bias for the Houston faction, which alienated Lamar supporters. Dubois fired off a number of letters to Lamar's Secretary of State, J.S. Mayfield. In these, the diplomat protested Bullock's scandalous and outrageous abuse and demanded that Texian officials penalize him for his insolence. Mayfield explained that he had no power to imprison a citizen without due process of law. Besides, who did this Frenchman think he was? Giving orders to national officials, indeed. In May 1841, Dubois severed diplomatic relations. He explained that he refused to
remain any longer with a government which, far from being able to let me enjoy the respect and protection to a representative of a friendly power, would not even have the power or the desire to protect my life from the assaults of a scoundrel.
He took up residence in culturally comfortable New Orleans and issued proclamations concerning the reprisals his sovereign was about to exact. Actually, his superiors in the Foreign Office were angrier at Dubois than the Texians. Impelled by Gallic pride, he had abandoned his post and did so without instructions from his government. Even the French grew tired of his tantrums, and all this over wayward swine. Ultimately, the pig war produced few lasting consequences. The French Foreign Office backed Dubois, at least officially, but had no intention of letting some haughty minion dictate national policy. When Sam Houston won back the president's office in 1842, he made satisfactory explanations to the French government and requested Dubois' return. Houston's explanations did not entirely mollify the sullen charge d'affaires, but having received severe reprimands from his bosses, he resumed his duties with as much grace as he could muster. He returned to Texas in April 1842, but by then the new president had returned the capital to Houston City. Dubois never returned to Austin. Carpenters finished work on the French legation. The building still stands as Austin's oldest frame structure. But Dubois, the official who secured the land and supervised its construction, never spent a single night in it.